All right, I'm going to answer the question for you today on how to cook spinach. We have a special recipe which is simple but covers the primary principles, methods, and techniques for cooking spinach. In this particular recipe, there's something that you're going to notice right away. Most of the time when we blanch vegetables in this vegetable class, and on these DVDs for the vegetable class, is we plunge the carrots or the broccoli or the cauliflower into the boiling salted water, and then we shock it in the ice water. In the case of the spinach, we pour the water onto the spinach and then pour the ice water on it directly. The reason we do that, and I'll demonstrate for you in a second, is that the spinach overcooks sometimes in the time that it takes you to get it in and out of the water. So you don't want to spend even that much time, because what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to cook the spinach about 3/4 of the way, and I recommend that over completely cooked spinach, which the only time I would really recommend spinach 100% cooked is if you're going to make like pureed spinach maybe, okay? Or where you're doing a specific recipe that requires you to do that for some reason. And there's plenty of those out there too. But generally speaking, for spinach, as a regular veg, I would recommend that you only cook it like 3/4 of the way. So I'm going to get right on to the recipe, and you can make this recipe with olive oil or butter or both together. And it's very simple. It can also be eaten hot or cold. And in both cases, it has garlic, lemon, salt, pepper. Now, either butter or olive oil, interchangeable in both recipes, hot or cold. Typically, the cold one is kept with the olive oil. The only time butter is used for the cold one is if you're going to make it and eat it immediately. You would never make it with the butter and then put it in the refrigerator to bring it out and serve it cold, because the butter would coagulate. So what I got here is what we call cello spinach, which is short for cellophane wrapped, which is what they refer to this as. And I bought this in the supermarket today. Now, there's about 3 kinds of spinach in the marketplace that you should be aware of. There's bushel spinach, which tends to be dirty, not bad, but can have more dirt on it, where these pre-picked, pre-cleaned baby spinaches and cello spinaches are not dirty and don't require you to wash them all the time, okay? So back to the 3 kinds of spinach. You got bushel spinach, which is typically not picked and has heavy stems and is a little bit firmer of a spinach. And then there's medium-sized cello spinach, is what we have today. And then there's baby cello spinach, or just plain baby spinach. It's not necessarily in a bag. I chose this one because this is the most average spinach that you'll find. But if you should happen to get a spinach that doesn't have the stems pre-picked like this, which these are still the tender part of the stem, but further on down here, they're not so tender, and these have been snipped, all of them. Now, so I'm going to pour the water onto the spinach first, and I'm going to demonstrate right now how this dish is made, and it is very quick, and it is very good. I got some boiling water right here, and I'm going to dump it right on the spinach. I'm going to move it around a little bit in that hot water. This is quick, and then now I'm going to hit it with the ice water immediately. And we're going to stop the cooking process. But it's cooked enough where you still have a little leafiness left to the spinach. And that is what I would call the advantage to cooking the spinach 3/4 of the way. Now, the reason, of course, that you're hitting it with the ice water, or shocking it with ice water, is in all cases to stop the cooking process. And when that happens, and you do stop the cooking process, it preserves the color of the vegetable also. Okay? Now, this isn't ice cold, so I'm going to put a little bit more ice water in here. I don't want to put so much ice water in there, but I have ice cubes all over this thing that don't melt, because I want to be able to pull the spinach out and wring it out without having ice cubes mixed in with it. So, it's cold now, and it's blanched. Now, I'm going to take it out. And I'm going to put it in another bowl. You see how it's cooked, but it's still a little bit leafy? And I think that is the What it really boils down to is you have a little bit of texture left to the spinach that resembles the original texture of the raw spinach. And that's, I would call that an advantage when it comes to eating it. Okay, I got the spinach out of there, and let's get rid of that. Okay. Now at this point right here, you can take your spinach and store it in the refrigerator if you want. Now let's say, I'm going to put the towel on here and just suck up any excess water that I might have. Now you see how nice and green that is, but it's still a little bit leafy. Now you can even cook it less than this. Like here, for example, is a part of the spinach that's not even cooked. A little, just barely cooked. So I'm going to cook a little bit more, and that's the way it should be. That's nice. Now, for the cold spinach, and I think that I'll just show you a little sample of how the cold spinach is made, and that is to just take some of the spinach, mix a little bit of lemon. Fresh squeezed lemon is absolutely recommended in this particular case versus any bottled lemon, because this dish needs the sharpness of the fresh lemon, simple as that. The other lemon doesn't have that vitality that a fresh lemon has. I'm going to put a little bit of lemon here. I'm going to put a pinch of raw garlic here. This is also the case where you can use the whole roasted garlic, mash it and put it right in here, or use it for garnish on top of the spinach. If Lewis would grab that roasted garlic out of the oven for me, we'll probably be able to show you that. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to taste this to see how it is. Right there, you are looking at a finished spinach dish in terms of the seasoning part of it. This is nice. It needs a little bit of salt and a little teeny bit more garlic. I'm going to take it. Let's say you were serving it as a little side veg. You just put it on a little plate like that. And in this case, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of tomato brunoise on there for some color. And we just hit it with a little pinch of olive oil like that, just extra if you feel like it, okay? There you go. There's a nice, cold, fresh spinach dish that people will just love. Now,